Hello, everyone. I heard it's very helpful to be here. And you hope so today. I'll tell you the story of my wife who was having an affair with my son. I hope the story will be very helpful for you guys. I want to lighten my heart by telling the story of my wife's infidelity. I hope you definitely learned something from the story. If you like the story of mine, then please thumbs up on this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then subscribe it now and click on the bell icon so that the upcoming interesting videos can reach you. I was living in Detroit and doing business. I had no family. My buddies used to tell me you should get married. Now the marriage age is going, but I had no interest in marriage, or nor was there any girl in my life. But I got the realization that I should be. I married because I felt alone. One day I went to my friend's party where I met a girl by chance and had a small conversation with her. I liked this girl's way of talking. She spoke very delicately, but her age was very much less than mine. I was probably 36 years old and she was 23 years old. When I got back home at night, I thought about her all the night. The next day I met that girl again and we had a little conversation and we got along to each other. Gradually. One day I asked her if there's someone in your life. And she replied to me that there's no one in her life yet. Then I told her that I like you and want to get married. Will you marry me? She smiled and said that I have no issue because I don't have anyone else in my life. If you really like me, I feel like to marry you. I said yes, of course. After that, we were happily married. My wife wanted a pretty big wedding and a lot of peoples attended. We even got some of her relatives from Puerto Rico to attend. Getting married was one of my happiest days because I felt like I wasn't alone anymore. My wife is always a great person. She's smart, fun, and has a great sense of humor which you don't expect from gorgeous women like her, and she was gorgeous. I loved her pretty smile, her brown eyes, and especially her amazing body. She was the type of girl who struggled a little to put some jeans on, and whether it was in a sexy dress or some tights, it was visible on her slim figure. She always loved how she looked. After a year, I felt the missing of a child between us. I told her and said, "Okay, we'll try." But she did not seem interested to take a baby. But after some days, we tried our best to take children. We did everything that is done to children, but there was no result. My wife did not get pregnant. One day I took my wife to the doctor and the doctor told me something that surprised me. The doctor told me that I could never be a father because she was on a medication that would prevent her from ever being a mother. I was shocked to hear from the doctor that my wife was in medication that would prevent us from becoming parents. And I did not even know it when I came home and asked my wife about it. She was very nervous and said that I did not want a child. So I took the medicine, but I did not argue with her anymore because I loved her so much. I was voted for a few days thinking that I would never be able to become father anymore. The lack of child was bothering me day by day. But I did not tell this to my wife. One day, my wife said to me, "Why don't we adopt a child and we will keep him as our offspring?" She told me that I was not interested in giving birth. That's why I did not tell you this, but we were going to adopt a child and raise him as our own. There are millions of orphans in the world who don't have parents and they need parents. Why don't we adopt one of them as our children? After that, I started looking for a child whom I can keep as my child. Then my wife and I took out a 12-year-old boy as our child. The boy was very beautiful, with blue eyes and golden hair. The boy stayed with us in our house and we raised him as our own child and fulfilled his every wish so that he would not miss his parents. After 4 years, when the boy became young and became 16 years old, he became very attractive and very handsome because he was beautiful. Even as a child, he became even more beautiful as a boy grew younger, he became even more gorgeous. And 4 years later, the wife was as young as ever. She looked younger than his age. It did not look like she was married at all, but I was already older than my wife. So with time, I would start to look older and my youth slowly faded away, maybe because I looked old in front of my wife and she looked young. So she slowly started to distance herself from me and she lost interest in me. Wrinkles started appearing on my face, which is a sign of old age. Maybe that's why my wife was not interested in me and we did not even get on well with each other, because I looked old and she looked young, but I loved her so much as ever. And my love was young in the same way. But over time, my wife began to behave strangely towards me and I did not understand why she was behaving this way. It was as if her heart was full of me and she did not want to be with me anymore. For some days, I've been noticing strange behavior in my wife. One day when we went to sleep in the room after having dinner, my wife said that I'm very sleepy today. I should go to sleep. I wanted to come close to her but she wanted to sleep. So I said, okay, take your rest. I fell asleep in a matter of minutes. But I happened to open my eyes in the middle of the night. And I saw that my wife was not on the bed with me, but suddenly she came into the room. Then I asked her, "Where are you coming from?" She became nervous that I went out to drink water. I got a little curious because the water was already in the room, and looking at my wife, it did not seem that she had come to drink water. But I did not ask anything more and she came to the bed and lay down. As morning came, I felt something strange. I felt my wife was sleeping peacefully. My wife used to wake up early in the morning and go for a walk. But today she was sleeping peacefully. This is how come my wife felt when I wanted to be near her. Then I felt that my wife maybe not. Well, so I went to my wife and placed my hand on her forehead and I startled her from sleep and said, "Are you fine? It's been a long time since you slept." She said, "Yes, I'm fine, darling. I was just about to get up. Don't worry." It was not just one morning that my wife woke up late, but it became a habit of my wife to wake up late every morning. She started waking up late regularly. It was surprising me day by day, as if my wife is not sleeping all the night. One night while we were having dinner, my wife was looking at my stepson with a strange look. My wife was looking at my son with a very loving eyes. Her eyes did not look like a mother's love, but a strange love seeing which I did not feel good at all. My heart was burning inside. But as soon as my wife noticed that I was looking at her, she immediately started hiding her eyes after dinner. My son went to his room. And after that, my wife and I went to sleep in our room. I had my son office work. I was doing it. My wife said to me, "It's late night. Now we should sleep." The night was late and I fell asleep. The same night I saw a strange incident which surprised me when I was sleeping at night. Suddenly I opened my eyes in the middle of the night and saw that my wife was not on the bed. I was so suspicious about it. I thought maybe she was in the washroom, but she was not there. I went out of the room and I went to look for my wife in the lounge, but my wife was not there. Then I went to the kitchen. Maybe she came to drink water, but she was not there either. I was worried about her. Then I looked at my son's room. The light in my son's room was high and I was a little surprised where the light in my son's room is on. He always sleeps with the lights off when I reached the door of my son's room. And I saw that the door of my son's room was unlocked and got a little suspicious. I opened the door and went into the room. I saw that my son was not on the bed. There was no one in the room. I've wondered where my son and my wife was suddenly gone. But that maybe both of them are not present at home. Maybe they both went out together. But I saw my son's phone was kept on the side table of the bed. This made me think that my son did not go out. But suddenly I felt a strange sound. I noticed that sound was coming from my stepson's washroom. When I reached the door of my son's washroom, I heard strange noise. It was my wife. My heart began to panic when my wife's voices were coming from inside. When I opened the washroom door, I was shocked to see the scene that was going on inside the washroom. I saw that both my wife and son were in the washroom. Both my son and my wife were very intimate with each other. My wife was so entrapped in my stepson's arm that she did not even know I had opened the door. My son was surprised to see me and immediately backed away when my wife caught sight of me. She was shocked to see me seeing the scene of my life. The ground came out from under my feet at that time because I was not seeing this from my eyes. And I immediately came to my room. I could not believe in my eyes because I loved my wife so much and believed in her so much. Meanwhile, my wife came into the room and started apologizing to me. I angrily asked her how long all this had been going on. I don't know how it happened, she said, and she started crying. I told her that I will not stay with you anymore. I took out his clothes from the cabinet and put them in a bag and held a bag on her hands and told her to get out of here. I said to her, "You have no place in my house and in my heart, go away and don't show me your fake face again." I kicked my father, wife and stepson out of my house. I was restless all night and thought one after another that the one I trusted the most was my wife and my son. I fulfilled their every wish and they betrayed me. Next morning, I told my wife about this whole incident. My wife advised me that you should divorce her. When I delivered the divorce papers to her, she told me then that she wanted half of the property of my house. I gave some money to my wife to live on for the rest of my life. But I had no idea where it was my stepson. But I cut them both out of my life and I became